Hey guys, happy Thursday. On vacation, so I'm coming up with some strange content for you while I'm on vacation. And if you're not a big fan of math, then you're probably not going to be a fan of this video. But I'm going to go step by step with number 8 wire and number 18, which is our thermostat wire, which is an important thing to know. I'm going to show you how you can calculate how much is on a roll of wire without having to unroll it and measure it, just by doing a little bit of math and using your electrical meter. So I have a lot of fun with this type of stuff. It's a lot of crazy math. I'm going to go over to the whiteboard and show you how you do it. But if you're on a job site and you don't know how much wire's on your roll, you can figure this out real quick with just a calculator on your phone and your electrical meter, ohming stuff out. So let's do it. Alright, so we got our number 8 wire here, and these measurements are only for the solid core. If you have the stranded, you can't do it, but you know, most Romex wire has a ground, so you'll have a solid ground in it, and that's what you're going to want to use for testing. So let's test out this. Wire here. And that gives us, hold on a second here. Okay, got the setup here. So let's test out our number 8 wire here. So you can see it. Stupid setup. And we have 0.06 ohms, okay? Let's remember that number. All right, so it's time for the fun math part. So number 8 copper, as mentioned, is 0.61 ohms per 1,000 feet. Well, we need to know what it is per foot. So what you do is you take your 0.61, divide it by 1,000, and you get 0.00061 ohms per foot. Then we know that from end to end, our roll of wire that we had, our roll of number 8, was 0.06 ohms. So we divide that by our per foot, and that tells us that our roll of number 8 wire has 98.36 feet on it, okay? Now, we're not done though, because this chart, this 0.61 ohms per foot, is based off of 77 degree temperature. Our temperature out here is 50 degrees. So we need to correct this. Let me show you how we do that. All right, so you guys ready for some mind-blowing math here? So every increase of 1 degree Celsius gives you an increase or decrease of 0.393% ohms, depending on your temperature. So how do we determine that? Because we're doing Fahrenheit, right? So 77 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what the chart, the reading that I showed you before, 0.0061 ohms based off of 77 degrees per foot of number 8 wire, is 25 degrees Celsius. It's actually 50 in here. So 50 degrees Fahrenheit equals 10 degrees Celsius. So that would be a 15 degrees Celsius decrease. So then what we got to do is we take this reading per Celsius of 0.393, because we have a 15 degree Celsius decrease. We're going to go 15 times 0.393% gives us a total of 5.895% difference in ohms, okay? So what do we go back to? We go back to our per foot ohms, right, at 77 degrees. 0.0061 ohms per foot times the difference between 100% and minus 5.895, which would be 94.105. So we want to times 0.0061 ohms per foot times the difference between 100% and that basically derating of ohms we're getting because of the lower temperature. So that puts us at 94.105 times our ohms per foot at 77 degrees. I'm running out of board here, so I'll be back. We're going to do this equation, show you what our final footage will be on our 8 gauge roll of wire. We're going to do 18 gauge too, just for fun, because I know a lot of you guys want to know how much is on your thermostat roll. All right, we're back. So our original at 77 degrees was 0.0061 ohms per foot. And I told you wrong before on the last segment. We're doing a percentage, so you got to put the decimal point in front. So it's 94% and some change. So it'd be 0.94105 is what you would times that by. It gives you your new ohms per foot of 0.00057. So then you take that, divide it by what our actual ohms was from end to end on our copper wire, our ground wire on our roll. So it'd be 0.06 ohms divided by this number, 0.00057, gives us 105 and some change of number 8 wire on our roll here. So proof's in the pudding. You know, might be a degree or two off, but we know you got about 100 feet on that roll there. I don't have to unwind it. I don't have to guess. I don't have to do anything. Just by doing a little bit of math and using my meter, I know how much is on that. Let's do the thermostat wire. Let's see if that checks out as well. All right, guys, time for some thermostat wire love in here. So I stripped my green back on my thermostat wire on both sides here, so you can see both. We're going to take our leads here, and we're going to see what ohms we got. And the lighter gauge of the wire, the more ohms you're going to get. So we got 0.37, if you can see that. 0.37 on our meter. Let's do some math. We'll know how much is on this roll without unwinding it. All right, guys, 18 gauge wire, 6.51 ohms per 1,000 foot at 77 degrees. 6.51 divided by that 1,000 will give you your per foot, would be 0.00651 ohms per foot. Now, before we do the other math and try to figure out exactly what our length of the wire is, let's do our temperature correction here first before we go any further. Okay. All right, guys, our final full math lesson here, fun math lesson. So we're talking about 18 gauge thermostat wire. Okay, at 77 degrees, it's 0.00651 ohms per foot. 77 degrees is equal to 25 Celsius. I turn the heat on, so it's warmer in here now. It's 55 degrees. So we take the 55 degrees and convert it to Celsius. It's 12.77 degrees Celsius. We take the difference between those two, and that's our 12.23 degrees Celsius difference off that chart that I'm going off of, which is 77 degrees. So this would be our chart for 55 degrees, would be the difference that we have on our ohms, okay, based on this percentage. So we know, based off the last formula I showed you, that per degree Celsius lost, we lose 0.393% of our ohms. So what we do is we take that temperature drop between these two and we times that percentage, because that's how much ohms we're losing for temperature. Resistance increases with heat, resistance lessens as it gets colder. So 0.393% times our difference in our Celsius. I mean, I could do this in Fahrenheit too. This is just what I was able to look up and find. I'm sure there's a Fahrenheit chart too. Would be 4.80%. So we take this original number that's based off of 77 degrees, which is 0.00651, and we take that percentage, which would be 95.2%, because we're taking that off of our 100%. So we times that times 0.9520, and that equals 0.00619. And if you remember the last little segment, our thermostat wire was reading 0.37 ohms. So we take that number and we divide that by our corrected ohms per foot at 55 degrees, which would be 0.00619. And that gives us a wire length of 59.77 feet. 59 3/4 of a foot, 9 inches or so. So that's how you determine that. And I mean, just by looking at my roll here, yeah, that's probably about 59 feet. And you know, if I really wanted to have an awesome video here, I could unroll this and measure it with my tape. And let's see how close this is. Yeah, let's do that, because I don't mind. I can roll this back up. Let's do it. All right, guys, I got my thermostat wire strung out all the way out there into the driveway. Let's measure it. So what I say, we're just going to be a little bit shy of 60 feet. So we'll start our tape right there. And we're going to have to do this in the... kind of hard to do with one hand. Hold on a second. Stay where you is. We'll run her down. We'll go about 20 feet at a time. So there's 20 right there. And we'll just hook it on my hand truck here. We're going to get it close. Yeah, I'll just run it on the ground. Sorry about the camera work. Okay, so we're 37 to there. Should be about 22 more feet here, give or take. Okay, so we're about 20. So it was about 2 feet off. I could have had my temperatures wrong. The wire could have been, let's see, colder than 55 degrees, which it probably was. But worked pretty good, huh? Yeah. Some would say I'm crazy. My wife says I'm crazy, but you know, that got us within a couple feet, didn't it? Not a bad method to use. All right, guys. So yeah, a little fun with trying to figure out how much wire's on a roll based on the gauge that's on the roll. Little fun with math there. If you don't like math, you probably didn't like this video. But I probably had my temperature wrong. But otherwise, that's a tried and true method. It'll definitely work for you if you want to figure it out real quick. I mean, quick with your phone and a calculator, you can figure that out real fast. You don't have to guess what's on your roll. And you know, let's say you got a 40-foot line set and you want to know if you have enough thermostat wire. That method will work really well. And it's all easy information that you can find on the interweb. You don't just have to watch this video. I just think it's kind of cool, the math involved with this stuff. So yeah, I probably had my temperatures wrong. Otherwise, it would have been tits on. My wire was probably colder than what it was in here because I did just pull it out of the truck. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. And hey, trying to keep you guys content going. I'm on vacation. We're leaving tomorrow morning. We're getting on a road trip for 4 days. And obviously, I'll probably get you guys some goofy video there. But until then, I will see you on the next one.